What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the Raging Rainbow. My name is Dylan, doing a comic book review today for Justice League number 60. Oh my god, this comic book was annoying to read, but at least the art was pretty good, so there was that. But as I said, it took no time at all for Brian Michael Bendis to make his original character Naomi basically like central to the entire plot. And not only that, every single panel in which she is present, she is clearly visible in this comic, and you'll see what I mean. I'll point it out to you. But so we start out with this thing where we go back to where Black Adam is basically encountering Naomi, who was with her friends, and she's telling her friends to like run or whatever. But there's the one, I haven't read Naomi's like her own limited series yet. I have it here, I just haven't read it yet. But anyway, we have this thing. I guess this is one of her friends who's like telling her like, "Don't worry, like I have your back and everything." And then they see that Black Adam's gone, and they think he's left at first. But then we see no, it's actually Superman's come up and scooped him up. And of course, Black Adam's pretty much pissed about that. So they stop and they're having this like back and forth about what's going on. And basically, Superman is trying to tell Black Adam, like, I can notice I've been noticing a change in you. Because, like I said, they're basically trying to turn anyone they want to make it to a popular property, they have to make them a hero. You understand? It cannot be popular if it's a villain. It can't. Because even Disney is doing that, where they're like giving origin stories to like their villains, but they're basically making them like misunderstood heroes. That's basically what we're doing here. Anytime we want someone to be at the forefront, which since the Black Adam movie is coming, we got to make sure people love him, but he has to be a hero. We can't be promoting villains. That's a bad idea. So they have to make him into a hero now, an anti-hero. And so Superman's giving him this whole thing like, I've been noticing a change in you type of thing. And then, of course, Naomi follows them because, of course, why wouldn't she? She just has to follow them. And she rolls up like she's like, deserving of answers. She's like, what the hell? And, of course, Superman's just like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and talk to her very respectfully. He's like, yeah, this is Black Adam. And she's like, we met briefly 5 seconds ago. And so he tells her like, we're here for the same reason or whatever. And she's like, you and Black Adam? And so Black Adam tries to ask her like where she's from or whatever, like where she comes from and where she got her powers from. And so we get this thing where we see this thing where they're like giving her questions, because she's kind of giving us a little bit of the lowdown about where she comes from or whatever, I guess. And then she tells us a little bit of that, but just in every single one of these scenes, like, we have the entire Justice League, but they might as well not be there. They don't really serve any purpose other than to just kind of like give a couple of responses here and there. They don't serve any real purpose. They really don't. There was no reason to put the whole Justice League in here. I know this is a Justice League comic, but it may as well have been these two and Naomi, because that's it. Those are the only people who are given any kind of attention in this book. Any type of like attention is basically just a scrap thrown to other comics, to other characters. And for the most part, it's Aquaman of all people. I mean, I guess you could argue it's Batman too, but I mean, Aquaman would probably be right behind him. And then, really, Aquaman? This is what I'm saying. Like, they give the most attention to the characters who are drawing the most attention. So in this comic, it was Superman, Naomi, because they want everyone to love Brian Michael Bendis wants everyone to love Naomi, and then Black Adam because the movie's coming out, and then Aquaman because they're still kind of riding the coattails on that, and Flash because that movie's coming out, and then Green Arrow because, well, Arrow, the Arrowverse, they got to like do a callback to that, and then Hawk Girl because also kind of both of the same things. So all of it together, like, you can tell there's basically a hierarchy of who we're going to give the most attention to based off of who's getting the most media attention. And that's what we get in this comic. So anyway, Naomi's going on to describe some of what she knows about her home world. And she's saying that it was like basically taken over by this guy named Zumbato. And they're asking if it looks anyone like if it looks anything like this creature that they encountered, who, if you remember from their last issue, was this like horn guy named Brutus. And she's like, no, that's not him. So they're like, okay, well, that's fine, but we got to go track this down. And then they mentioned down here in the like footnote that you have to go read Naomi season 1, because we're doing that thing where like instead of comic book series, runs, we refer to them as seasons because everything is TV and Netflix now, so everything is seasons. But anyway, finally it's Black Canary who like points out the elephant in the room, or I guess Black Adam in the room, because she's like, y'all see Black Adam over there, right? And I mean, basically Superman's like, yeah, like I wanted him to be here. He's working with us. He's our guest. We're like sharing resources. And Batman wants to have a word with him privately, but then he basically just blurts out to the team that, yeah, Superman wants Black Adam to join the team. And everybody just, of course, kind of like freaks out and was like, what? What are you talking about? So, of course, Superman has to tell him like, there have been like over a dozen times recently where I have been called to a real emergency only to get there and discover Black Adam already handled it. Why? We're not told. We're just supposed to believe that apparently Black Adam has turned a new leaf and suddenly he apparently just cares about righting wrongs in wherever it's happening, I guess. So, and this is where I'm saying, like, again, like I said, every single scene where they're going to do anything where Naomi's around, she's going to be a prominent figure, and if anyone's going to speak in that panel, it will be Naomi. So she's doing this thing where she's asking like if he has super hearing. He's like, no, but it doesn't take a genius to know what they're talking about, obviously. So the Justice League goes on kind of like arguing about it or whatever, and then they're having their back and forth. And then we have this thing where they're continuing to, I guess, infantilize Green Arrow, because I mean, everywhere in every comic that I've read so far where Green Arrow comes out, he's basically just like either a dumbass or a naive simpleton. Like, and that's what we see in this part, because he's basically like, no, we shouldn't be accepting Black Adam into this. I don't believe people change. Like, he is who he is. And Superman's like, oh, you don't think people can change? Well, you've changed. I think that you've changed. You used to be a much different person, and I think that you've changed. And of course, Green Arrow's like, oh, wow, really? You think that I changed? And of course, Clark has to be like, yeah, you really have. Oh my God. Fly into the sun, please. But anyway, we go on, and then apparently Brutus has come back to like Earth or whatever, and then we cut away to the scene where we see Hippolyta, who's Wonder Woman's mother, who has apparently been fighting Brutus, and Superman and Flash arrive there first, of course, and they're seeing her in this like crater or whatever, and they're asking her like, is he here? And she's like, no, like, he was here, he left. And they're wanting to know, okay, well, what happened? So she tells them the story of what happened, that he basically just showed up at Themyscira and said that, or he was basically indicating like, I'm happy that I finally have a real challenge, like real fighters. And that he's saying that he ends up mentioning, I think it's on the next page, somewhere in here, he's fighting the Themyscirans and especially Hippolyta. So it looks like they're kind of like giving him the business, but then he ends up getting away. And he does mention in here that Zumbato was right. This place is totally worth fighting for. So he made reference to the guy or the person who, or the entity, I guess, that destroyed Naomi's world. So I guess that's kind of like the tie into this. And then he like disappears into another one of his portals. But Hippolyta basically says like, before he left, I saw the world from which he comes, and it was a nightmarish place. So I was here, and then y'all all of a sudden showed up. And then we get this scene where the rest of the Justice League shows up. And at first, Hippolyta thinks that they're like intruders or attackers. And Flash and Superman are like, no, it's just the Justice League. Like, don't worry, calm down. And then they get out, and Black Adam is with them. And she, for whatever reason, is just like, why is he here? What are you doing with him? And so they're like, he's working with us. Like, we're pooling resources because he kind of knows what's going on. She's like, what? So she's just all like scornful about it, and she doesn't give them any indication why for some reason. And then she just takes off. And Black Adam's like, I've always found her to be the most impressive warrior, like obviously having very, obvious admiration for her. And everyone's just like, what was all that about? And they're kind of figuring like Naomi asks Hawkwoman, like, is there a thing with them? And Hawkwoman says absolutely not. But then Aquaman goes over to like talk to the people and stuff. And this is where I'm saying, like, as you can see here, it's Naomi, Superman, and Batman who are investigating this further. The other Justice League members are basically just doing crowd control, which I'm like, why is this youngest person who's not really involved with this all that much the only one who's actually looking into this? Really? None of the rest of y'all care? Y'all are just going to do crowd control? All right. So we go on from there. And they keep doing this, like, talking back and forth. And as you can see, like I said, everywhere that Naomi is present, from the moment that she showed up in this, you can see she's like, you can see her in the ship right there. You can see her poking up between Superman and Black Adam right there. We don't see her right there, but then we see her again right there. And then we see her again. And then we see her again. And again. Well, she's not in that one. But like it's over and over and over again. Like they squeeze her into every damn page everywhere. Because like I said, basically what we're supposed to understand is that she is the crux to this entire thing. Because Brian Michael Bendis went straight into making his original character the most important thing to the first storyline he told for the Justice League. And so we get this thing where like Hawkwoman goes up to her and she's going to like, it looks like she's giving her mace. If you look at her, she's basically holding it like she's giving it to her. And that's what Naomi assumes. She's like, no, I was just holding it close to you to see if it would have a reaction, because it had a reaction to Brutus. I wanted to make sure it wouldn't have one to you too. Which, I mean, if that was what you were going for, why are you holding it like that? Hold it a different way. It was obviously the mace head that had the reaction, not the hilt. So why are you holding it like that? Hold the top of it closer to her if you're trying to test something. But anyway, we see that it has no real reaction or whatever. And then they're getting ready to go and like track down Brutus, like back to her Naomi's homeworld. And Superman tells her like, you don't have to come or whatever. And she's like, no, I'm going. So we cut back to the Hall of Justice. Because for some reason, like at the end of it, like Ollie decides to bitch for some reason. Like, ugh. We have to go all the way back. Like, dude, y'all use teleportation technology. You know that. You're one of the people who helped, I'm assuming, assemble that technology. And you're complaining about having whatever. So they go back and Flash has his cosmic treadmill set up with all of these like sidecars, I guess, with all of their logos. And so they get on there, or he puts them on there, I guess. And then he starts running to like power it. And they go forward into this basically, they call it a slide because the way that Flash describes it is that Brutus has been using like tears in reality to travel from place to place, which is a much more damaging thing to the universe. And that what they're about to use is more like sliding from one place to the next. So it's much more, environmentally friendly. Thanks, Flash. So they teleport to this world, and then we can see again Naomi is like, where is everybody? And no one's around. She's just like surrounded by this destroyed world. So that's where we leave off for now. And again, like I said, like it's all about Naomi. Like it's called Justice League, but it's basically the Naomi miniseries. So anyway, we get to the backup story, which is slightly better. We get this thing where the Justice League is kind of like talking, and you can see if you know like me, if you can see the tapping hand there, if you recognize who that is by just the hand, then good for you. You know your comics. That's Etrigan the Demon / Jason Blood the Human when he's in his normal persona. But if you remember from the last issue, Merlin has come back from somewhere else. He's come back and he's decided that humanity can no longer be trusted, so he's on like, I guess, an extinction agenda. And so apparently Zatanna and John Constantine have come to the Justice League for help. And we have Etrigan there, who's also basically trying to say, like, yeah, this is a threat we need to deal with. And for some reason, just for no reason at all, Batman is the first one to stand up and be like, yes, we need to trust Zatanna, and I think she needs to be the one to lead this mission. Why? Like, and one thing he says, this is a magical threat, and if Zatanna thinks this is the best way forward, if she takes the lead, I'd be comfortable with it. Why? Like, Batman, you've encountered mystical stuff too. Like, you understand some of this. I'm not going to say you're versed. You're not a magic user yourself. So yes, it would be understandable to defer to Zatanna, and I love Zatanna. I have no problem with that. But to just come right out and say, yes, I think we need to all fall in line behind Zatanna because she's the most versed in this. What about John Constantine? He's also in the room. He's also very versed in magical matters. Why not say we might as well just trust both of them if that's what we're going off of? Magical prowess? They both have plenty of it. So anyway, we go on from there, and we end up finding out later on that the reason that Batman stuck up for Zatanna like that was because he has this profound respect for her father, Zatara. Which, okay, great. I love that, like, throwback to a Golden Age character from Action Comics of Zatara, who's Zatanna's father. But Giovanni Zatara, sorry. I'm over here saying his last name like it's his first name. But, I mean, at the same time, like, that doesn't make any sense. Just because you trust her, you, like, had this respect for her father, you're going to be like, oh yeah, we need to trust everything she says on this. What? Okay. So anyway, we go on, and John Constantine also kind of convinces them, like, yes, this isn't just any magician we're going up against. This is like the magician. This is Merlin. You all know who Merlin is, yes. So this isn't just any run-of-the-mill thing, because Green Arrow basically tries to tell him, like, I'm pretty sure my Merlin is more deadly than this, like, wizard dude that y'all are going up against. Like, mine shoots people with arrows. Okay, Green Arrow. Chill out, bro. So we go on from there, and Constantine is kind of, like, talking about Merlin, and we see this thing where, like, Merlin has gone to this, I don't know if it's like a library or what is it? Page by page. Oh, it's a bookstore. And apparently they have these, like, old manuscripts from Jorge Luis Borges, including El Jardín. And apparently that's what Merlin was after. Not because he wanted to buy them or anything, but no, because apparently he was planning to summon the monsters from the pages. And that's what he's making happen. So we go from there, and then Batman goes to have a word with Etrigan, and is basically telling him, like, you're going to stay in line or I'll come for you. Which, of course, Etrigan, being a demon who's fought multitudes, battalions of demons, is like, that doesn't scare me, dude. I can kill you. And, of course, Batman does the thing where he's like, I don't care, I'm Batman. Which, okay. Yeah. I know that's how Batman would be, but even I, being a gigantic Batman fan, I'm like, bro, he's a demon. He could easily kill you. We know this. So anyway, we go on from there, and then we see this scene where this guy, who they don't like really reveal who he is at, like, right at first, but they do say it's Rory. Wow, words are hard. Rory Reagan. It says that in the second panel he's in, so I guess it is right away. But if you don't know who that is, that's the alter ego, I guess, of Ragman. Who, if you don't know who that is, he's one of the, like, few Jewish character, like, superheroes. And he wears this, like, suit made of rags, which is why he's called Ragman. And each rag basically contains the soul of, like, a criminal. He only takes the souls of criminals. Like, he doesn't take the souls of good people. He can only take the souls of criminals, because what ends up happening is, as he uses his powers, he uses a portion of their soul, I guess, like their ability, their power, whatever you want to call it. And once they use up enough of their power, I guess, to forgive whatever their sins were, then they go on to heaven, and he's able to take on, like, new rags as he encounters new criminals and everything like that. But anyway, he's the one who comes back to this bookshop because apparently he knew the owner who just got killed by Merlin. And so he comes in and he sees the I guess they're like harpies or whatever, who are killing him, and then he pulls out this rag from his collar and he's telling the like hunter soul that he needs his help or whatever. And so this is where we see the action scene where he is in his full costume and he's attacking the harpy thing. So I guess this is where we're bringing Ragman into the story, and I have no problem with that, honestly. Like, I like the character of Ragman, so I'm interested to see how that factors into the story. But that should be pretty interesting to see, I suppose. Like I said, there were some things in there, like the characterization of Batman just implicitly trusting someone other than himself without saying like, oh yes, I'll work with them or anything. Like, no, saying we need to trust Zatanna and everything she says because of her magical knowledge, and then coming later and being like, oh yeah, I said that because, you know, I had such great respect for your father. Like, what, Batman? What? That's stupid. What? No. But okay, whatever. So yeah, that was my review of Justice League number 60. And again, like, the backup story was honestly better than the main story for me yet again. But that's just because yet again, Brian Michael Bendis's like dialogue, I mean, I guess it makes sense the way that he writes when he's writing Naomi, because I guess she's like a teenage girl, right? Or is she like in her early 20s? I don't know. But then the way he writes everybody else is like they're in their early 20s, even though these are like established heroes. I mean, these are adults and they're being written like children, like annoying people who just barely are in their like second year of college. It's so annoying and I cannot stand it, but at least the backup story does somewhat make up for it. It's not perfect either, as I mentioned, but it does at least somewhat make up for it, and it'll keep me coming back, I guess, because like I said, I do like the magic story, so I'm going to come back and read it. But oh my god, wow, what was that? Anyway, if you've read this issue, I would love to know what you thought. Please let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video, do feel free to like the video and subscribe if you want to come back for more comic book reviews. I'm working on more and more of them. I promise they're not all this negative, even though like the last few that I've done have been. It's just that, wow, when it comes to the big two, you can see how far the quality has dipped because apparently editorial doesn't give a crap anymore. All they care about is, do we have the right people writing the stories? The rest will take care of itself, except that it doesn't. Ugh. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. So if you're done here, guys, then go read a book, but probably not that one. And if not, then I will see you on the next video.